Let's take a look at the skills section of your resume, CV. There's a lot to cover here, but I think it's super interesting and it feeds into a lot of different elements of the resume. So, this is the skills slash area of expertise. Often, this is kept in the resume for technical jobs and not so much with non technical jobs. Really just depends on the role that you're going after. I get into all kinds of great conversations about this because ultimately I have done a ton of public speaking and guest lectures at a lot of universities here in Denmark. And I have personally seen a slow degradation of the skill set needed to become a great marketer because ultimately degrees are showing you more or less how to frame problems, some basic group work elements, how to build outlines of approaching problems, and for lack of a better term, busy work. So there's this great little video of Gordon Ramsay where he's given everybody a super hard time about the restaurant that they all work in not being up to snuff. And somebody stops him and says, "No, no, no, I went to school for 2 years." And he has this really profound moment where he says, the university or the culinary school that you went to for 2 years, it basically gets you ready to approach the real world, but then you actually start learning. And I find that that is absolutely the case. So if you are entry level or if you've only had a couple of jobs that haven't really got you past the 2 year mark, I think this is absolutely true. Getting more directly on that point, there's a really interesting video here of this person demonstrating the two different degrees that they have, including a master's, and they're super frustrated. And this is a perfect example of cognitive dissonance, which is basically the mental discomfort that results from holding two conflicting beliefs, values, or attitudes. The thought process is, I spent a lot of time, effort, and energy in order to earn this degree. Why am I not getting this amazing job? And the challenge is that employers are looking for experience, hands-on skills that allow them to either make money or save money as using you as a vehicle. And it is as simple as that. Sometimes there's reducing headaches, but honestly, those are the big themes. So this is what happens. We get into what I call the vicious cycle. So I don't have a job because I don't have enough experience, and I don't have enough experience because I don't have a job, and then you just keep going around and around and around and around and around, and around. And unless you're changing what you're doing, that will unfortunately be the case forever. So we need to start getting experience. And I will demonstrate how we do that in a later module towards the very end of the course, which is focusing on upskilling. This is something that you should be doing alongside your job search so that you're continuing to improve as you go. Really short story. I have on many occasions worked with people that I was with at a different startup, and a few years went by, and I tapped them again to come work with me either on my own projects or a new startup. And I was always baffled by the amount of people that didn't continue to learn. I always did these things called learning lessons, which was a weekly activity, anywhere from half an hour to up to 2 hours, where we would go over a new skill, a new project, a new workflow, and basically everybody would learn the ins and outs of how to execute on these things. If you do not continue to upskill, you will degrade. Your skills as they continue to mature get better, but if you don't feed them, if you don't work on them, it's very quick to have those skills become outdated, especially in a world that AI is really taking over literally everything that we do. It's so important to upskill. So we will do that much later in the course. Some quick degrees versus skills statistics. And pause if you want to guess. This is again driving home the point of how important it is to have the skills and not as important to have that degree. So, percentage of tech hiring professionals stated that a 4 year degree is not enough to prepare candidates to be successful in their current workplace. Percent of companies plan to remove degree requirements in 2025. Percent of hiring managers prioritize candidates' skills and experience over degrees. And here are the numbers. 61% of tech companies basically said people are not prepared enough for the current workplace. 55% of companies say they plan to remove degree requirements. 72% of companies prioritize the skills over experience in the form of a degree. Again, the degree gets you a foot in the door in terms of the beginnings of learning, but it is not necessarily the learning. It doesn't teach you the execution because you're not working on real projects in school. Beat a dead horse with that one. I hope that makes sense. I'm passionate about this because I've worked with lots of entry level people over my career, and it's of course frustrating for me and them. So there you go. So CV skill section. Let's quickly go into this. Like, why does this even matter? Why do I need it? It demonstrates your abilities. It's helping you to show that, oh, I do exactly what you're looking for, and it allows people to match the job requirements so that you're essentially giving yourself the best possible outcome in terms of they're looking through stacks and stacks of these different resumes, and you also come up much higher with some of these AI parsing tools that are very common within HR departments. So we'll discuss tailoring the resume for these later, but just understand that this allows us to tailor very closely to the job description. So I often have to tell people, like, how would they know that you're capable of all these things unless you told them? And that's what hard skills, which is tools, tech, platforms, and solutions, is all about. And then soft skills. Often this comes through in subtext, or it's a demonstration via bullet points or stories. It's basically how you're working independently and together with others. There's a ton of resources that you can tap into here. So this is inspiration and examples for hard and soft skills for all sorts of jobs. This is my CMO version of this, and you can see how I've separated out by categories or themes. And then this is my big soft skill list. I think we're up to almost 90 different soft skills. I'm not telling people to overload in any one particular area, but let's just quickly go into them. So, examples of hard skills, they're always separated by categories, themes, or functions. So, in this particular instance, an example would be social media is a theme, content is a theme, DevOps is a theme. And then the tools that might go into those particular themes would be Buffer, Hootsuite, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Zapier. And in some cases, they have certifications that go along with these. And it's always nice to kind of put those into the mix so that people are like, oh, this person has a HubSpot certification, which literally takes zero time and is the easiest thing in the world to get. It's just a long way to go to say that it's really important to show that you've done the work and you can do the work. And again, I've provided an example of what that looks like on a very detailed level for a marketing CMO. So, how do you show hard skills? Of course, it's in the skill section. You can outline this stuff within the bullet points as you're relating to the specifics of what was happening within this particular project. This is always the how, and it's the foundation of great stories when you get a chance to actually get in front of somebody. Soft skills are a little more fluid and difficult to really, I would say, compel people. It's like, I am a great communicator. It's like, okay, so is everybody else on paper, I guess. We could all say that. These are very difficult things to put some type of rating or score on. And going back to the previous stuff, don't put any type of like 4 out of 5. Like either you do it or you don't. I think that is more or less a personal preference, but apparently, according to a lot of HR people, they hate it. So these are a few different examples of what you have to have in terms of being a good person. Soft skills. I don't know. I don't keep a lot of soft skills on my resume, but that's just me. This kind of comes down to the layover or airport test. Some people have heard of this. So it's kind of like a big McKenzie question when they're down to like the last two candidates and they're asking, who would you rather be stuck in an airport with? Is it the person that has a great personality and is super engaged and seems like they're a really great team player and they're easy to get along with? Or would you rather have the workaholic, super antisocial person, but they're really good? Or an obnoxious person. And I think it becomes a very, very easy decision when you start to relate it on that level. I've personally seen this up close with so many different layoffs within different startups. Really likable people are almost never fired. So I would say if you can brush up on being a likable person, you're always going to win. Um, Again, back to the how would they know any of these things unless you told them? And it's a great little video on basically how to outline the skills within a skill section. Again, external validation. Watch the video real quick, pause here, and check it out. Cool. So, a couple of more statistics on skills within the resume. Percent of recruiters that look for skills on a resume first. Percent of recruiters that love seeing soft skills on a resume. Percent increase in job postings emphasizing skills and tasks rather than qualifications. Pause here or give it a guess in your head. Cool. 41% of recruiters look for skills on the resume first. Crazy, especially with tech recruiters. If you're anything related to a developer or you're doing tasks that require some type of competency within a certain tool or technology, that is huge and super important. 91% of recruiters love seeing soft skills on resumes. I think that's a bit weighted, but hey, that's what it says. 20% increase in job postings emphasizing skills and tasks rather than qualifications. I totally agree with that one. You want to be able to show that you have done the work through some type of project via a task or a project. Final thoughts on the skill section. I think this guy is always really on point with the way that he looks at either bullet points or just formatting, literally a wealth of knowledge. Pause here, watch the video, and yeah, give it a moment. Great. So the last activity that we're going to do is building a skill table. Again, this will be used as we continue to train our LLMs to do a better job at building really succinct but really strong tailored resumes, tailored cover letters. It will pull directly from these different sheets that we're building. So please take the time to do this. I think it's incredibly important. It is not maybe as important as building the work experience, but I think it's up there. So we're going to next go into a real quick demonstration on how you go about building your skills table.